I really enjoyed myself. And I'm sorry we didn't win more.
So were Seahawks fans, who were getting frustrated going into season number 8. Chuck Knox had won with the Rams and turned around the Bills. Now, Seahawks GM Mike McCormick brought Knox back to the West Coast to see if he could mold the Hawks into a playoff team.
Been able, with commitment from the players, commitment on the part of the coaching staff that we've had, that we've been successful in turning a couple programs around. And we expect to turn this program around. And we didn't come all the way out here not to get this job done.
He was a really no-nonsense guy. Don't tell me how rough the water is, just bring in the boat. But that was just one of many that he had, Knoxisms.
He had a game plan, and he had a system that he was married to that was successful in the NFL everywhere he tried it. And we also were successful too from day one when Chuck came into Seattle.
That plan was called Ground Chuck for its emphasis on the rushing attack. With that in mind, the Seahawks drafted Penn State running back Kurt Warner in the first round of the 1983 draft. It immediately paid off. The Seahawks won the first game under Knox, Warner running for 128 yards against the Jets.
Maker, and look at that cut.
He liked to run the football, and I like to run the football. And his advice was, hey, number one, the ball ain't heavy. That was the first thing that he had mentioned. Run to daylight and run where they ain't. So those were the three things that he told me to do. Other than that, he left me alone.
Knox also made a mid-season change at quarterback, replacing longtime QB Jim Zorn with Dave Craig.
And I always felt like Chuck didn't like the idea of a QB bolting and scrambling. If I felt pressure, I was gone. And that, I think, made him a little nervous because you can't predict that.
You know, it was tough initially because Dave was there and Jim was there. And Jim was my guy, and always was and has been. And Dave was willing to put in the same kind of work that I was putting in, and it paid off.
Everybody was trying to take my job, just like when Jim had his. And like Gail Gilbert is the one guy I keep bringing up. We played basketball, we shot pool, we competed all the time. So I was always competing in practice, just as hard as if it was a game.
Craig went 5-3 in 8 starts, leading the Seahawks to their first postseason. He threw for 3 touchdowns, and Warner ran for 99 yards in Seattle's 31-7 AFC wildcard win over Denver at the Kingdome.
Like if you're standing on the sideline, you had to yell to talk to somebody. And so if you're in the huddle, guys could just tell by your mouth what you were saying. They can understand the word, but it's so exciting, and that you got to keep your composure. For our defense, it was awesome. They were loud. The offense couldn't call their signals as well. So it was great for our defense. But the excitement level, you got to imagine the first time ever into the playoffs, and we win the darn game.
Next up, the Dolphins at the Orange Bowl. The Hawks drove 66 yards in 5 plays for a 27-20 win and a trip to the AFC title game. Warner ran for 113 yards, including the game-winning touchdown.
Obviously, it was the upset of the century on our part because no one was expecting us to win that game. So sometimes it's favorable to be the underdog, and that's what we were.
I can't tell you how excited we were because you go in the locker room, Dave Brown, God bless Dave Brown, consummate pro, what a great guy. He gets up there and presents the game ball to Chuck Knox. But at the same time, Elmer Nordstrom was in there. Old man Elmer, John's dad. And he was so cool, so happy. Had it not been for the Nordstroms and all the other people that helped get the Seahawks, so I could see in his face, even as young as I was, how much it meant to him.
Hip, hip, hooray! Hip, hip, hooray!
After beating the Raiders twice during the season, a third time was not likely. The Raiders won the AFC title 30-14. The '84 season started with a blow. Pro Bowler Kurt Warner tore his ACL in the season opener.
You lose Kurt Warner in the very first ball game.
I would have loved to have been out there to get out there and mix it up, especially during that time frame.
So, Ground Chuck evolved into Air Knox, and Craig responded, throwing for 3,600 yards and 32 touchdowns.
that was like, here I go to the Pro Bowl in Hawaii, and I'm like, there's Dan Marino. He asked me for Copenhagen and stuff like that. You know, I'm like, what am I doing out here? Look at all these guys, Duper, Clayton, John Hanna, you know, Dwight Stevenson. I'm like, oh my gosh. You know, that was a really cool thing coming from DC Everest, from the farm country of Wisconsin to Milton College, and now I'm in Hawaii playing in the Pro Bowl. You're like, you got to be kidding me. You know, I just flew out a plane a few times, you know.
The Hawks went 12-4, advancing to the AFC divisional game before losing to Miami. Along the way in 1984, the defense set an NFL record by returning 4 interceptions for touchdowns against the Chiefs, 2 by Dave Brown. Kenny Easley set a Seahawks record with 3 picks in one game against the Chargers on Monday Night Football. Jacob Green had a 4-sack game against the Giants, 4 of his 115.5 career sacks.
Sacks for a defensive lineman, sacks was like getting a touchdown. So Kenny Easley, who was probably the toughest guy I ever met, mentally and physically, and Manu Tuiasosopo, and we had Dave Brown, we had Jeff Bryant and Joe Nash. I remember we were the top 2 defenses in the league.
Steve Largent would set a then NFL record with a catch in 128 straight games, a streak that would stretch to 177. And for one famous moment, a big hitting defender. After being concussed by Denver's Mike Harden early in the season, Largent saw the opportunity for payback, laying out Harden and recovering the fumble.
We played him in the Kingdome, and Mike had intercepted a pass, and I was running at an angle. He was coming this way. He didn't see me. He was looking at our rest of our offense. He didn't see me, and I cold-cocked him. And recovered the fumble, and we won the game, and everything was peachy.
The 80s also brought the Boz, the brash, mullet-wearing linebacker from Oklahoma. A media sensation even back then, Brian Bosworth could play. 4 sacks in his first season.
People loved him, and the Boz with the haircut. So he did what they do now with the media, is make stuff happen.
But he became known more for his outspoken personality, which manifested in his ill-fated remark to contain Raiders running back Bo Jackson. Bo knew Boz and promptly ran him over. Bosworth was done after 2 seasons.
He came in selling Boz Hater t-shirts. He was selling them because he knew his agent knew they could make money at it. It was quite a time, short period of time. He met Bo Jackson, and that was about that.
The Hawks made 4 playoff appearances in the 80s. They also retired jersey number 12 in honor of the fans. The last man to wear 12, quarterback Sam Adkins. But the 80s also brought the Bearings.
Fumble.
Ownership that would hamper the franchise into the 90s.